I think we lost Nazim bhai.
Nazim bhai, are you still there?
Yeah.
We'll wait for him too.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry, there was some technical glitch. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So I thank the organizers, MFIRD, Shahid Bhai and Said Bhai and our mentor Shahnaz Khan sir, though he is not here. I am honored and I am humbled to get this opportunity. I wish to introduce myself as a learner rather than a trainer. So at the end of the session, when people ask some wonderful questions, that's a time when I happen to learn a lot. Okay, now let us start about the solar. The first and foremost thing about the renewables is that what is the necessity of renewables? As we all know that climate change is rapidly happening, and one classic example of the disasters due to climate change was the Australian fires. Can you play the slide number 3, Shahid Bhai? Slide number 3. Go back.
This is the one?
No, the previous one. Slide number 3. Preamble. Yes, okay. Yes.
Sorry.
Then the climate change is one of the basic reason why the governments, the economies are focusing on renewable energy. See, when you see the next slide, the global problem in climate change and economic slowdown. The next slide, please. Yeah. It's unimaginable that Australian fires witnessed 1 billion animals lost. That was a huge loss for the ecosystem. So that is when the people started thinking seriously on renewables. Okay, we have to control the global warming by going towards renewables. Next. Next, please. And of course, there are few slides hinting towards the unemployment. 33% of the youth from India are unemployed. And that 33% is a huge, it will be in several crores, several hundred millions. So it's a high time that we need to think of some solutions for the unemployed youth. Next.
This is fine.
Yeah. Now straight away coming to the jobs and the entrepreneurships. This is, see, one of the solution is that we can create some entrepreneurships and some jobs in this renewable domain, and especially in the solar rooftops. Next. Let me start with the basics of solar energy. There are two types of technologies in solar. One is thermal, the other one is photovoltaic. Since I'm sure all the audience are qualified and well informed, I wish not to go into the basics, but just an overview. Thermal technology, as the word indicates, Thermo means heat. It is the technology using heat to convert it into heat. The solar light, the sunlight, consists of two elements. One is the light and the other one is the heat. So here we are using the heat portion of the sunlight and utilizing that in a very technical way to generate electricity. So how is that possible? I'll give an example. While we were kids, we used to use the reading glass, that is a convex mirror or a convex lens, to focus on a piece of paper. So when the sun rays converge to a point, so the paper starts burning. Why this happens? Because of the concentrated solar sun rays. So the same technology is used in large scale. What we do here is, in an open ground where there is sufficient sunlight, we install several hundreds of concave mirrors. So these concave mirrors reflect the sunlight and focus to the center where there is a tower. This tower has a special type of salt. So when from the 360 degrees from each and every direction, there is a bombarding of these concentrated solar rays onto the tower, where there is a special type of salt. This salt gets heated up, and you will be surprised, the temperature sometimes can go even beyond 500 degrees to 800 degrees. So this salt melts and it starts flowing. Now the molten salt is conducted through a system where it passes through a chamber of water. The water gets heated. There is a heat convection method. The heat from the molten salt is transferred to the water. The water starts boiling, and the boiling water produces steam, and the steam is collected and driven to fire the turbines. So once the turbines start rotating, and you know that the mechanical energy is converted to electrical energy. So this is a concentrated solar plant. We also call it as CSP. But this is not very common, very easy to see one. The reason is it consists of a lot of financial investment. It needs a lot of time to build the plant, and it needs a lot of manpower to do the O&M, operation and maintenance. That's the reason why it is not very common. Now coming to the second technology, that is photovoltaic. Photo means light. So here the sunlight is converted to current. Sunlight is converted to current. We all use calculators. In that you see the what do you say, that a small window where there is a cell, solar cell. Okay, it's nothing but a solar photovoltaic module. So this converts sunlight into electricity. So once the DC current is generated, now you have a DC source. So it all depends on now the role is played by the power electronics people. So the DC is converted to AC, and then AC is boosted to the required voltage. Say, for example, if it is a high tension grid, 11 kVA, or sometimes it could be 33 kVA, and sometimes it could be even 66 kVA, that is 66,000 volt amperes. So it is boosted and the energy is fed into the grid. Okay, this is the basics. So I think it's very, very clear. there are two basic technologies in solar. That is, one is thermal and the other one is photovoltaic. Another example of thermal is that on the rooftops, we see plenty of solar water heaters. This is an example of thermal technology. Here the sunlight is captured, heat is captured to heat the cold water. So again, in that technology, there are two types, ETC and FPC. What is ETC? ETC stands for evacuated tube collector. You see the tubes in the solar water heating system. And what is FPC? Flat plate collector. That is a old conventional type of method where there is a black coated copper tubes, a flat tube, and the water flows into that. And due to heat convection, the water gets heated up. And due to the siphon effect, the hot water goes and collects into the tank. Now you would be wondering why the water remains hot. Because in the tank, there are two tanks actually, inner tank and outer tank. Between those two tanks, you have puff insulation, which retains the heat inside the water, similar to like a flask, you know. So the hot tea or coffee is retained for several hours. In the same way, the solar water heater retains the energy overnight. So in the morning, you get hot water. And sometimes it reaches even the boiling point also. So this is a simple technology which is made use of in the solar water heater systems, which is very, very common, especially in Bangalore. It's very, very common. Okay, next, please. So carrier types in solar. What are the opportunities? The first and the foremost opportunity is R&D, but I would like to confess here that very little is done or could be done in R&D. The simple reason is that there are brilliant minds, students, teachers, lecturers, but they don't have the necessary infrastructure to do the R&D. I'll give you a simple example. See, in the solar modules, basically there are two types. With respect to the commercial success and commercial viability, I would be just mentioning the varieties of solar modules which are relevant to the market. So you have polycrystalline and monocrystalline. Of course, thin film technology was there almost around 15 years, 20 years back, but due to failure and non-viability, the production is stopped. So let us focus only on polycrystalline and monocrystalline. So here, what is the difference? The basic difference is the impurities you are going to add into the modules. It is all nothing but a silicon device. So in that, an ordinary person like me and you, we don't have absolutely the reach. We cannot reach to that level where we can inject something impurities from our own side, do some trial and errors, do some research. You need to have a very sophisticated labs for those kind of R&D work. That's the reason why the R&D is still unexplored. So in this, there are 3 or 4 domains where people interested in R&D can make their careers, can think of. This is SPV domain, as I explained to you. See, in polycrystalline, the efficiency is 17%, and in monocrystalline, the efficiency is almost 23%. Now, this 23%, this 17%, I am seeing this from almost 2 decades. The question is why it is not becoming 46%. Why the efficiency of the solar modules is not doubling. So people are trying to do. Indians are very good at it, but unfortunately, we don't have the infrastructure. So that is the reason there is a lot of room for improvement in the efficiency of the solar modules. I'll give an example. One engineer from Kolar, his name is Mr. Murthy. He is IIT from Mumbai. MTech from Mumbai. He has done some wonderful job in the R&D space. What he has done, he has used convex lenses to concentrate the solar rays, and those rays go and hit the solar module, that is the cell, and thus that cell he has used a grade cell, military grade cell, where it can generate more DC current compared to the conventional polycrystal or monocrystal. So he claims to double the efficiency from say 23%, he can achieve about 40%. So this kind of work is going on. So interested people can think in that direction. Now the second scope in R&D is that ESS, energy storage system. Here, until now, there was a big problem of storing energy. You all know that you cannot store AC energy. Of course, DC energy can be stored. Now, there was a limitation, practical, technical limitation in using the batteries. The batteries, normal lead acid batteries, which have a legacy of more than 100 years, they have a legacy, and the attitude never say die. The lead acid batteries are not ready to quit the market. They are still evergreen, but they have a limited life and limited performance. The tubular batteries, you cannot expect more than 5 years of life, and the number of cycles maybe around 1000, less than 2000 cycles per annum. So this kind of batteries, when you try to store large energy plants like megawatts range, they fail, or commercially it is not viable. So now, because of the latest advancement in lithium ion technologies, this problem is overcome. It is yet to be seen what are the dangers and what are the technical challenges ahead of us. But there is a good news that even in megawatt range, people have started storing energy. For example, there is a 1 megawatt solar plant. So this operates only in the daytime. What will you do for the night time? There is no sunlight, there is no energy generation. So for this, what they do, they put a 3 megawatt solar plant. So the parallelly 2 megawatts or a 3 megawatt hour, a battery bank, a huge battery bank is constructed next to the solar plant. So this battery bank will store energy and gives back in the night time. So this is a very special area. People can think of making their careers and doing research in this domain. The third one is a smart grid domain, where here all the technologies related to IoT, artificial intelligence, digital payment, all these things come into play. I'll give an example. In Bangladesh, there is one company. It's a foreign company, European company. So what they have done is they have utilized the roofs, distributed roofs of the small houses, and they have constructed a microgrid. See, 1 kilowatt of solar power plant needs 120 square feet of area, rooftop area. Now, naturally, a small house cannot accommodate more than 2 kilowatts or 3 kilowatts of solar power plant. So what they have done, they have selected in a village, say 50 houses or 100 houses. On every house, there is a small solar plant. Say, let me assume that as 1 kilowatt. So 1 kilowatt into 100, that equals to 100 kilowatts. So this they are forming as a microgrid, and this microgrid is driven, controlled, and managed by a sophisticated network management system, or you can call that as a remote management systems also. So here IoT comes into place, artificial intelligence, digital payment, everything. So the people who wants to use the solar energy, each house will be installed with a smart meter. There is a payment gateway. Suppose like a mobile, you recharge the meter. Say I want energy worth 100 rupees. So you just recharge by transferring 100 rupees through any digital payment method like Google Pay or Phone Pay, Paytm, etc. And the energy meter will allow you to consume energy worth 100 rupees. So after 100 rupees, the meter stops. So it's something like a prepaid smart meter system. This lot of ideas can be incorporated, and there is a wonderful scope for all these young boys, especially uh, our community. They are very smart in mobiles and computers and all these things. This is a wonderful opportunity. Shall we move ahead? Next. Yeah, this is one company, C4V. It is a USA based company, and the founder is an Indian. He is MTech IIT Delhi, Mr. Shailesh. So this you can keep on watching on the media news. It is doing a wonderful progress in the lithium-ion battery domain. Recently, there was a news that they have signed a MOU with government of Karnataka. They are investing about 4,000 crores to set up a lithium-ion battery factory in Karnataka. Next. This is a factory where you can see the huge batteries are assembled, and these kind of battery banks will be utilized to store energy in megawatt or gigawatt level. This is a huge energy storage. Next. Now coming to the carriers in manufacturing, solar modules, that's one opportunity. Of course, I wish to caution not to enter into the solar modules manufacturing domain. Previous, please go back. No, previous. Yeah. So because this needs a lot of financial investment, and this is a very risky proposal. I don't propose this kind of investment for solar modules manufacturing, because it's an overcrowded market and a lot of competition. Similarly, for inverters, there are all European brands leading the global market. So you need to be very careful in putting your hands into this domain. For example, I represent ABB, and ABB is a Swiss company. It's a global leader, and they have solar inverters. And now they have come out with one centralized solar inverter, which is 2.5 megawatts. One single inverter, unimaginable. It's a huge inverter. One single centralized inverter, the capacity is 2.5 megawatts. So Alhamdulillah, I am representing, and I am a channel partner for this company. Now coming to these batteries, we have lithium-ion battery is the new emerging technology, and lead acid battery is expected to die or phase out very soon. But still, it is ruling the market, lead acid batteries. So you need to be careful in choosing the batteries. Battery manufacturing, the cell level, it's very difficult because it needs a lot of investment, technology, raw material sourcing, etc. But suitable for our community is that assembling of batteries. You get the cells, you get the BMS, that is a battery management systems, and you get the cases, you do the assembling, and then the lithium-ion battery is ready. That can be used for solar application, that can be used for electric vehicles, forklifts, and many other applications. And the fourth one is the balance of system. Here it's a low technology business module. We call that as a MMS. MMS stands for module mounting structure. It's nothing but a fabrication job. And if you're good at fabrication, if you're good in designing and this AutoCAD stuff, you can do wonderful business in MMS designing and manufacturing. You just need some simple lathe machines for cutting, shearing, bending, and this one. Then you can start the manufacturing of MMS. Of course, this market is also crowded, and cables and etc. You can be a stockist, you can be a reseller in this domain. Next, please. The third type of carrier is that EPC. EPC stands for engineering, procurement, and construction. In this, you have off-grid solar plant and on-grid solar plant, and then you have solar water heaters. I'll just take maybe 1 or 2 minutes to explain what is off-grid, on-grid. Off-grid is nothing but a UPS plus conventional UPS. I'm sure everybody nowadays uses UPS for either for your computer or homes or anything. What does UPS contain? UPS has a inverter or battery. Now you're adding a solar panel for these two things. So off-grid solar plant is equal to solar modules plus a UPS plus a battery. These are the three main constituents of a solar off-grid plant. Now, what is on-grid? Point number 2. On-grid is a special kind of a solar inverter where the solar inverter is hooked to the grid. In Bangalore, we call that as BESCOM, Bangalore Electricity Supply Company. Like that in Hubli, you call HESCOM. In Mysore, you call that as MESCOM, like that. So this has a particular voltage and frequency. In India, it is LT, it is 230 volts, and the frequency is 50 hertz. So now, this is the reference voltage. What does the on-grid solar inverter do? It will sense the grid voltage and the frequency, and it will start generating its own frequency from the solar panels. The solar panel produces DC voltage. The solar inverter takes the DC voltage and converts it into AC. So that the AC output waveform should be exactly same as the BESCOM waveform. So that is why it is called on grid. It is hooked to the grid. So the continuously the solar inverter monitors the reference voltage, reference waveform, and generates its own waveform so that it synchronizes with the on-grid with the BESCOM supply. So how does it work? So now there are two sources, one from the solar plant and one from the grid. So if there is excess of energy from the solar plant, it is exported back to the grid. So you are paid for it. Nowadays in Karnataka, earlier you will be really surprised. In Karnataka, almost 15 years back, to encourage solar energy, the Karnataka government used to pay 18 rupees per unit. If you generate electricity and sell to Karnataka government, it used to pay 18 rupees. Then last 7 to 8 years, it was brought down to 9 rupees 60 paisa. And now it is almost 4 rupees 30 paisa or something like that. So you get paid for each unit that much of amount. Suppose if there is shortage of solar energy, then the system will take the draw power from the grid, whatever is required. Suppose, say you have a 3 kilowatt plant on the solar rooftop and your consumption is 2 kilowatts. So 3 minus 2 is 1. So 1 kilowatt of energy is exported back to BESCOM. Suppose if your generation is say 3 kilowatt and consumption is say about 10 kilowatts. Now there is a shortage of 7 kilowatts of energy. So this 7 kilowatt of energy is drawn from the grid. So this is why it is called as on-grid system. And the third one is, I hope it's clear. The third one is solar water heaters. Already I have explained what is ETC and FPC. I think we can skip this. Next, please. So yeah, this is a sample design of one kilowatt solar off-grid plant. I think this could be interesting for those interested in EPC. Uh, uh, okay, since because we already opened the slide, I will just explain to you. As the picture is self-explanatory, you see the solar module, and then you have the batteries at the bottom. Then you have the charge controller. Normally, the charge controller is MPPT, maximum power point tracking system, and this charges the batteries, and the DC energy is stored in batteries that is converted to AC by the inverter and supplied to the homes. Next. See, this is a very simple type of 1 kilowatt solar rooftop plant. These are the items you need to construct a solar rooftop plant. You can do it yourself. You need a module 250 watts, 4 numbers. You need a charge controller, and you need a surge protection device as per the design. Then you need DC cable, batteries, inverters, and lightning arresters and earthing kits. Next, please. This inspiration we have derived from ID Foods, Mr. Brother Mustafa. Say how we started with 50,000 rupees of funds, and then now it is almost 1,000 crore company. So we need to find some sustainable business models. So this is possible in our renewable energy also, where you need to integrate with the other green concepts. Point number 2, I have got a very practical inspiration from a boy called Satish. He is from Hassan district. He is into agriculture, but he is a multi-talented, tasking guy. When he has time, he comes back to the city and does the EPC work, installation of the solar, and the rest of the time he'll be focusing on his agricultural projects. So like this, we need to think of something very innovative business models where the youth, especially from the districts, from the rural areas, they have the access to the latest technology in solar, but as well as they should not discontinue or forego their roots in the rural area. They can do many things in the rural area as well. Next, please. This was designed for a microfinancing structure where a lot of young boys, they don't have financial backup. So either they have to do their own investment or they have to go to the banks. And we all know that we discourage interest-based finance. So what we have come out is with a practical solution. If there is any suitable candidate, he wants to become an entrepreneur, we assist him with a interest-free funding up to 5 lakh rupees. So we will help him, we will train him, we do hand holding for him, we'll do the incubation so that he is successful in his rural area. So this has already started, but we need to focus and take it to the next level. Next, please. Now, conclusion is that there are hundreds and thousands and millions of unemployed youth in India. The problem is huge, and we need to think of some solution. And there are many options in the renewable energy domain, as I explained to you, because India is really focusing on solar. Whatever the target is there for the solarization, hardly 20 or 30% is achieved. Another 70% is yet to be achieved. But to tell you the dark side of the fact that very few people are making money in the solar business. Of course, the corporates are enjoying, but the middle class people is very much affected. So we need to be very careful. But of course, in the lower level, that is a blue collar jobs. There are, of course, plenty. We need our boys to be trained and certified. That is where we can play a very important and significant role. We can help boys to get trained in the EPC of solar domain. We can train them, we can certify them. And also, if there are any young energetic boys, they want to become entrepreneurs, we can do the hand holding for them. Next. Of course, my presentation is over. I request the audience to come out with some questions if they have any.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam.
This is Bandanawas Patel, sir. I am from Karnataka, Bijapur, currently living and working in Saudi Arabia. So
Okay.
I just started one company, Al Hablul Matin Private Limited. So I'm looking for business opportunities, what to start, where to start, how to start. So
Okay.
I was interested in solar energy. I was listening you. So I'm interested in this. So how we can go further? So even though I'm interested in everything.
Okay. So where have you started the company, Mr. Bandanawas?
It is in Bijapur, sir. It is
Bijapur.
incorporated in Karnataka only. Yeah,
Okay.
Bijapur, sir. You know the Bijapur.
Yeah. Very much.
It is part
North
of Karnataka.
Yeah.
Yes, where the
Yeah,
Gold Gumbaz.
you can take my mobile number and the email ID from the organizers, and I would be glad to help you, both in terms of advising you as well as arranging some OEM suppliers to you directly from the factory. You can buy things, and of course, we would be charging some nominal consultation fees, and in most of the cases, we do free consultation also. So you can contact me, sir.
No problem. I was just looking for something I got in the jobs or something group. I found this your link. So I don't know who is the organizer. I registered and I received mail. So I get in my WhatsApp. So I joined this one. So
Okay.
no
You can
problem. I
note
will
down my
contact
number.
in that
My
same.
number is 99800
Yeah, sir. Please. 99890
99800
Okay, sir. 99800
129
129
22.
22. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks.
So, Nazim bhai, there are a couple of questions in the chat box as well.
Yeah.
So I think let me go from the start. Assalamu alaikum, sir. If you have flow diagram, easy to understand if possible. So I think we had one image also that should have answered this question.
Say, is he interested in this one PPT?
Yeah, flow diagram. He was looking for flow diagram to get the understanding.
Acha.
So which slide he was asking? I think initial slides. It was 11:17 a.m. So that means I think initial slides.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you can share the slides, and if he still wants any other information, he can contact me.
Yeah. And okay, Brother Hamad is asking what it takes to start.
See, if you want to become an entrepreneur, yes, you need some sort of funding, and you can start with some basic products and services. See, there is a advice to all my Muslim brothers. there is a great scholar. Once he was telling in a speech that there is a success, the formula for success in Quran. So he cited one ayat from Surah Yusuf. So Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, he says, give me this responsibility because I am Hafizun Alim. What does it mean? Alim means I am knowledgeable, and Hafiz means I am vigilant, I am honest. So honesty and knowledge, these two things are important for success. I'll give an example. If I have a scooter, I go to the mechanic. There are two mechanics. One mechanic is very, very religious, very honest, but he is a dumb-headed. He doesn't know the job. Do you think I'll give my scooter to repair? No. Similarly, there is another mechanic. He is very smart, very knowledgeable, but he is a very dishonest person, very crook, fraud. So in that case also, I won't go and give my scooter for repair because he knows the job, but there are chances that he may try to replace my original parts with the duplicate parts. He may try to cheat me. So like that, the scholar was highlighting, you need to have both honesty and knowledge for success. So for the knowledge sake, you need to start somewhere. You need to get trained, and slowly that knowledge level will increase. Then inshallah, you will be successful.
Jazakallah. Brother Rishad is asking, I want to install solar water heater in my home. So
the best thing is that you can contact the nearest dealer, and you can take say 2 to 3 quotations, and you can go ahead with the nearest supplier. Because don't buy the products from a very far off place. That will be a problem for operation and maintenance and servicing.
Okay. So another brother has asked the opportunities and scope in Eastern Uttar Pradesh as an entrepreneur.
Yes, UP, Bihar, West Bengal, and Assam. It's an area of concern for all of us. We are deeply thinking how we can do something for our brothers there, because as per our estimate, 30 million youth are unemployed there in these 4 states. So it's a huge responsibility. We need to do something, need to some brainstorming. So he can start off with an entrepreneur, and then that same thing can be replicated with others. If he is interested, let him contact me. I will guide him.
Jazakallah. So Brother Rishad is asking, what is the minimum cost to install solar energy to utilize as electricity in my home?
See, if it is an on-grid system, the minimum cost on an average as thumb rule is 50,000 rupees per kilowatt. And if it's an off-grid system with battery backup, it may be around 75,000 rupees per kilowatt. This is a market rates.
So 1 kilowatt is enough for the home?
No, it is not sufficient. So it's not sufficient actually. So what you can do is you can go for an on-grid system 3 kilowatts. That would be somewhere around 1.5 lakh rupees. So 1 kilowatt of solar plant produces 5 units of energy per day. So 3 kilowatts means it will produce up to 15 units per day. So 15 units, if you are saving 7 rupees per unit, so it's almost 100 rupees you are saving every day. So per month, you can generate up to 3,000 rupees or save 3,000 rupees.
Okay. So Brother Hamad is looking for the training institutes for this. So any training institutes you want to
Yeah,
say?
net metering and gross metering, see, it all depends on the local government current policies. So the first thing what you have to do is, for example, you are in Karnataka, you are in Bangalore especially. So you have to go to the BESCOM portal and register yourself for an online plant. Then you have to do some payment online, and you get a registration number. Then after that, you have to approach some EPC contractor. For example, I am doing EPC contracting in Bangalore. So what we do is we give you the quotation, and after the order is placed, then we will do the installation of the solar panels, everything. Then there is another agency called licensing agent. So this person is responsible for getting the net meter connection and synchronizing after the installation. So he will be having his own charges, some professional fees. You pay that professional fees to this licensing agent and get things done. And my sincere advice, don't try to do yourself the BESCOM licensing work. It will not work. 100 times you visit the BESCOM office, your file gets stuck and people don't do your work, and you'll be running from pillar to post. So the licensing agents are very experienced and they know where to pay the bribe and how the things to be done. So my sincere advice is, don't do the licensing work yourself. You hire one BESCOM licensing agent. He will do it for you.
Yeah. So Brother Hamad has asked for the training institutes. So do you suggest any training institutes?
Yes, we wish to do training for all these boys. We want peoples and volunteers to come forward. For example, there is one question from Andhra Pradesh, I think Hyderabad, Eastern UP and Andhra Pradesh. Yes. So what I suggest strongly is that you can form a group, some volunteers, you can start some institutes, and you can contact me, contact MFIRD. So we do the skill development. So that is where we are lacking now. I really appreciate your concern. So you should start skill development in renewables. We are there to help you, teach you, and we will also see that there are some brilliant boys and graduates, engineers. They are ready to do the training for others. So we can train them also.
Okay. So there is a question from Abdul Khader. So he is a BTech graduate in mechanical, would like to be trained and establish his career in renewable energy. Could you please guide him with course as well as placement?
Sure. He can contact us.
Okay. Yeah. So for the remote area people, so how the training is going to happen? Like, is it a remote training you'll be taking, or?
See, this solar training cannot be 100% online.
Okay.
You need to have two modules. One is online and one is offline.
Okay.
Online can be theoretical, and the offline, which is practical, we have to go there, conduct some practical sessions, hands-on experience.
So, okay. So for that, you will be needing the setup as well, right? So if you want to go to UP, for example.
Yeah.
So how that is going to happen?
Yeah, we can give a list of the equipments required. So the volunteering team there in UP, they can arrange those things, and we can send some trainers from Bangalore. They go there, stay there for say 3 days, 5 days, 10 days as required, and they do the training and come back.
So what is the cost involved there to arrange that kind of lab setup?
I don't think the cost is, say, including the toolkits and everything, it's not more than 1 lakh rupee.
Okay. So you mean if someone can invest 1 lakh rupees in their state and have a setup, so your team can go and train?
Fantastic.
Okay. Jazakallah. So, okay, here enough manpower. I think the same person is telling about the manpower. It is available in Muslim community, which is unemployed.
See,
Okay.
what we need to do is every state has several districts, and every districts we need to identify and train the boys. So once they are trained and certified, so in the large megawatts and the gigawatts projects, there are chances of getting the job. The project will run for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, like that. And the salaries for ITI candidates will be somewhere between 12,000 to 15,000 rupees per month. So this is suitable for ITI candidates. I don't recommend this for engineering graduates. But of course, an engineering graduate can become a project manager. But for ITI, for installation and commissioning, that is INC, we also call them as installers. This course is suitable for ITI or 10th standard or PUC students.
Okay, Jazakallah. So whether dropouts can opt for this option?
Yes, very well, very well. See, our company is both into energy and water. We have water purifiers as well. We can teach them how to assemble the water purifiers. So nowadays, as I explained, I gave an example of one boy, Mr. Satish from Hassan. See, we have to be multi-talented.
Okay.
We have to do both solar, we have to do energy, we have to do water purifying. This one, we should learn some skills about electrical, servicing and all those things. Because the boys who are trained, they should not be idle even for a single day.
Okay.
The boys who are working under my company here, they used to draw about 15,000 rupees salary. Now they are working independent as freelancers. Every day they are earning about 1,000, 1,500 rupees.
Good. MashaAllah. So I think we should have mashura with even MFID Sathis for like setting up these kind of institutes across India in various places. So we should look out for the volunteers who want to have these setups, and we need to have a team ready whenever there is a need, go and train them and create the opportunities for all these youths who are unemployed. It's a great opportunity, I think.
Yeah, and also there are very interesting products like solar pumps. So these rural areas, people can think of solar pumps. Even if they have 1 or 2 acres of land, they can think of agriculture. And along with agriculture, they can do the solar installation jobs. They can do the assembly of these lithium-ion batteries. They can assemble the water purifiers. Plenty of things they can do it.
MashaAllah.
So every month, our target is that they should earn at least 15,000 rupees to 50,000 rupees. And it is possible, inshallah.
Inshallah. Any other question? I think Muhammad Anis Bhai, you can get in touch with Nazim Bhai. The number is already shared. So you can plan further for your training and having that set up there in UP. So any other question? So yeah, so there is another question: who is certifying body and who and is it recognized throughout the world?
Yeah, good question. See, unfortunately, the certificate what I would be giving from Kammati Research Foundation is not accredited or recognized globally. But we are under the process of getting recognition, starting with Karnataka Skill Development, KSD, in Bangalore. And slowly we would be applying for recognition to other bodies as well. But let me clarify one thing. Whatever the training we would be giving through Kammati Research Foundation, that doesn't need any accreditation or any certification from the other bodies, because we are focusing on entrepreneurship. You have to use that knowledge to make money. Simple.
Okay, so Brother Bandinawaz Patel Sahab is asking where can we attend in Karnataka these trainings?
Yeah, online you can, we'll let you know the batches. Once there are sufficient number of students and candidates, we can conduct online. And for practical, we need a batch of at least say 10 students, so that it will be commercially viable for us also. Just for one student, we cannot send our trainers to Bijapur and do the training. We need at least to have some 10 students.
Okay. So for you'll be having the training charges for these people as well
Yeah, it will not be more than 5,000 rupees
per person.
per student. Yeah.
Okay. Jazakallah. So any other question? Yeah, I think we are good. So no more questions looks like. So Jazakallah, Nazim Bhai, for a wonderful.
Jazakallah. Thank you so much.
So you have opened up a lot of opportunities for the unemployed youth. So I think we should be having a close collaboration and interaction with you, taking these requirement to you, and we should plan pan-India level these setups, inshallah. So just take this as a priority, because everywhere our intellectuals and our scholars all are putting effort to create the opportunities for the youth, and this is the place where I think we can focus, and with minimum investment we can get started. So
And let me add one more thing. I just remembered one thing. See, if there is a network across India and one big company starts importing lithium ion cells from abroad, say from China or from Korea, we can help all these boys to become entrepreneurs across India, and this business alone can easily cross 100 crores per annum.
mashallah.
So it's a huge opportunity. But what we need some sort of a network creation. There is
Inshallah.
a knowledge source, there is a head office for training, then each state should have a branch office, regional office, and some trainers, some volunteers. So then if we have the complete network, we can do wonderful ecosystem.
I think it's a great opportunity for us to brainstorm and then come up with that big chain of network, inshallah. So we will take this for the mashwara, and you need to take this leadership here role, so that we can get started, and we should not wait for this. And already one brother has asked from Eastern UP that he want to get started. So taking such few examples, we should plan for a bigger thing, inshallah.
Yeah. We have some initiatives from West Bengal. Already we have started some discussions. We have formed a group in West Bengal, that is Calcutta. And for UP, yes, we have formed, but the group is not active. We need some active people. And in Assam also, we have formed, see, these 3 states, and Bihar also. So if there are some active participants and volunteers, welcome.
Inshallah. So maybe you can come up with one PPT about the plan, how to go about, how to roll about. So we can take it for mashwara there, inshallah.
Yeah.
And there is another question. These training, for how many days it is going to happen? Like the duration of the trainings?
See, the training need not be more than 5 days.
Okay.
In that, 2 days will be theory and 3 days will be practical.
Achha. Another good question from Brother Ahmad, that how much sunlight is required to generate quantifiable power, and in non-summer season, how does it work?
See, the energy generated is proportional to the brightness, the sunlight brightness. And people think that if it is very hot area, then you get more energy. No, it is a misconception. In hot areas, the energy output will reduce. So the ambient temperature should be cold, but brightness should be more. That is the reason why Ladakh region in India is #1 source for solar energy. But whereas you go to the deserts, then you have challenges. Because of temperature, the output energy will fall down. So 1 kilowatt will produce about 5 units of energy in a bright sunlight. If there is raining or some cloudy season, then proportionately the output will fall. It may go even up to 20% or 30%.
So still we'll be getting some.
Yeah, some generation will be there.
So it will be like an inverter when
Yeah.
Okay. I think we have Subhani Bhai also here in this session. So he's also an expert, mashallah. And Yami.
Mashallah, welcome.
Yeah, so he says he has 100 persons in his network. So
Great.
how to make entrepreneurs, so he can also help us. So his number is also given. You can also make a note of it.
Yeah, I also wanted to just, it's very premature, but I'll just give a hint. Now the future is something called as agro-solar.
Agro-solar, mashallah.
What is agro-solar? You are mixing agricultural concepts with solar energy. And we have, I am also executive director for Sea Fresh Foods Private Limited, USA. There is a patented technology for cold storage. So if our boys are strong in agriculture or sheep farming or fishing, all these things, these products can be cold, super frozen and exported. And for that, we have the technology. So agro-solar can be a really challenging, very interesting, very, very, economically viable solution. Because what's happening is, suppose there is a candidate who has trained in solar. When he has work, he's busy. But most of the time, out of 12 months, maybe 6 months, 8 months, he is without the job, without the work. So it should not be like that. All the 12 months around the year, he should be busy with either solar or agriculture or something like that. So this is a very, very viable solution.
So Subhani Bhai is saying that there is one project at Amangal, agro-solar.
Okay.
Okay, mashallah.
We can explore, inshallah.
Jazakallah. So any more questions? Yeah, so if no questions, I think we can wind up. Jazakallah khairan kaseera wa Nazim Bhai. It was
Thank you, sir. Jazakallah khair for giving an opportunity.
And it was like good to hear you after a long time. The rich experience and rich reach to the many places in world, mashallah. So I think we have a lot from you to learn, and the entire youth is also waiting now to have that standard bearer torch with you, so that we get enlightened, inshallah. So inshallah, we'll take these inputs for the mashura. So you'll also be there, part of the mashura, inshallah, and then we can plan a grand plan for the pan-India level for getting trained and starting the entrepreneur, push, giving the push to the entrepreneurs, inshallah. So Jazakallah to all the participants for taking out your precious time during the weekend. It's a great sign that shows that how keen we are focusing on our professional development, learning new things, and looking out for opportunity. I think we should continue on this. So every Sunday we have one or the other topics. So we should also ask others to join, so that maximum people can get benefited. So these recordings will be there in tinyurl/mfid in a couple of days. Jazakallah khairan kaseera wa ahsanul jaza.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Subhanakallahumma bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta will